guys, hope you are doing well. Making the London recap today. Took 3 losses. Not the best day for me. The first two slightly more aggressive than I would like, and then the third one was clear fear of missing out and unfortunately let emotions control me. But yeah, it is what it is. We are not perfect and we are always improving. So yeah, in the end, in the coming days, I will make a really detailed review of this price action, because I really want to understand why I took some decisions during the day, and in order to learn, right? It will not always be 10-hour days, right? You'll need to have some losses, and it's part of the game. So as quick as possible, you need to accept that, because otherwise you'll be in a fantasy world. So yeah, talking about this day, I put bar replay to just show you my full process behind the trade. If you want to see, you can see the photo analysis channel. The forecast play out very nice on M15. It was just was a not very clean M1 price action, and because I use M1 for entries, end up being in the wrong side. But yeah, if you use M15, probably end up being a very nice day for you. But talking about here on the monthly time frame, just quickly, because we know that after this was more like this M15 monthly change of character here, and the low becoming weak, right? This monthly low or weekly low, whatever, becoming weak. So yeah, after the run of this massive low, this massive sweep of external range liquidity reaching into extreme demands, I am expecting some kind of reaction. However, it's important to don't predict, react, as I always say, which means if structure and order flow is telling you to sell, don't be afraid, because even though we are further in the run, we can see that price can just keep going, right? For example, if you imagine here, right, and we have this break of structure, or here to be more precise, we have the break of structure, right? If you are saying that you don't want to sell because price breaks structure, you'll miss all this move, right? It's just a case of being aware that's a little bit more don't want to say low probability, but you just need to be aware that probably soon, right, price will give you indication that the pullback will start. So if you take a sell from here, which you can following structure and order flow, as I always say, don't assume structure will change until it does. So you can still take the sells, but just manage more aggressive. Don't aim for the moon, right? Just be more aggressive with your management, but you can still take the sells. So here I'm still looking for sells, even though we sweep the eternal range liquidity, but I also manage my expectations and let structure tell me what will happen, right? Don't want to try to pick M1 buys from this demand. But yeah, going to the daily, everything the same, right? For me, I have this clear swing high, swing low, super discount prices, nothing new. 4 hour. Okay, so 4 hour time frame. I was personally looking for our change of character, in this case that it matched the same level as M15 boss, to assume that price will start putting the complex pullback, right, of this bearish leg, until the 4 hour change of character and M15 boss, that's the same level here, happens. We don't have confirmation that the pullback from this leg will officially start. So even though you can take buys after M15 choke here, you just need to be aware that even though this M15 choke is the first sign that M15 boss will happen, because chokes in high probability areas can lead to break of structures. We just need to understand that until this high, this internal, you can see the change of character, right, goes, the pullback won't officially start. And if I draw this, for example, something like this, for example, you have this large swing leg, right, and you have this a little bit pullback, and then I move to the downside. If you have, for example, a change of character here, aggressive change of character, this just indicates that price is pulling back from this internal leg. Only when this internal leg goes, we can assume that the pullback from the large leg will eventually start, right? And then, of course, after mitigating something special and you have demand failing again, we can assume the low will get run. But that was the idea behind the 4-hour time frame, M15. Okay, so I adjust a little bit the demand here from the monthly, because just use fractal refinements, but yeah, nothing special. That's why on the I believe on the photon analysis markups, price was actually tapping on the monthly demand. I just adjust a little bit. And no, sorry, forget what I said, because I was looking in the wrong place. We actually were here on the London session, so forget just what I said, right? So price tapped into this monthly demand, and yeah, my forecast, I still have the swing high right here and swing low. So I was expecting here, after the change of character, like I said, a pullback will start, right, of this M15 leg, so I can still take buys. And of course, these buys, in my opinion, are still high probability, because even though we don't have the 4-hour chop and the M15 boss, because we have just a massive sweep of external range liquidity, if these buys, right, end up being leading to the break of structure and we start the complex pullback of the large 4-hour leg, your buys here will be running very decent percentage. So in my opinion, the buys, even though it is a pullback, still makes sense. And when I was looking for sales, because we don't assume structure will change until it does. So even though we have here the change of character and I'm expecting a pullback, I would still be interested in sales from here. Like I said and Mark on the photon analysis channel Outlook I posted this morning, because I don't assume the structure will change until it does. So, though, yeah, something that I do. And this M15 POI for me was very clean, because this type of price action for me very sideways. I'm not sure which POI will hold, but if I zoom out a little bit and let's put just premium versus discount. Yeah, so this clearing premium, right, we can clearly see the sweep is also a flip, right, if you use this POI. So this is a flip that swap liquidity have inducement, right, is in premium prices, and yeah, it's from a protected high. So in my opinion, this was the only clean M15 POI. I was aware that we still have something here, but just if you want to take sell from here, at least be a little bit more cautious, because in my opinion, when we have this type of price action, for example, this very sideways, right, a lot of the times this sideways price action tends to be inducement, right, to reach the POI above. So yeah, I was not very interested in this POI, so that was the reason I was not looking for sales at this stage. So I will just use my replay, right, to show you the trades that I took. So after the change of character, right, we officially have the confirmation that this pullback from this leg will start. I mark these POIs. I have, for example, very clean here, the extreme, right, and I have this flip that is the decisional POI. Okay, I went to the M1 time frame, and this is today was not the best day for me. I did a few mistakes, and yeah, it is what it is. But not something I'm proud of. And yeah, price tapped into the M15 POI, continued to the upside. At this stage, I was very aware that we didn't reach, in my opinion, the high probability POI on the M1, right? But I had to take a decision, right? Price tapped into M15 POI, pushed to the upside. I just look left here to justify if this is a clean interaction, right? I can see this being a clean interaction, a flip forms through sweep of liquidity, because you can see that you have the push, we have the interaction here, price push down and then push up again. So we swept liquidity, and this was a clean flip for me. So I had to take a decision if I would be waiting from a trade from here or if I would take a trade here. And I mark this POI, right? And yeah, I took 2 trades in this POI, ended up being a loss. I explain on the markup screenshot that I post on Discord, and I took 2 trades being aggressive, assuming that M15 POI was already tapped. So it makes sense, price came back down to mitigate the high probability demand, but I was not, I was a little bit more aggressive and took 2 trades here, and yeah, took 2 trades, missed this buy. If you use 2 pip stop loss, right, you don't, you can't get involved. Missed took 2 buys, 2 losses, missed this one. I noticed that there were a few guys looking for sells. I personally was not interested in sells because all M15 was showing me is that the pullback was likely to start. So to look for sells at this stage for me was not very high probability. And I saw this, you can see, I saw this move down at this stage after mitigating this and pop to the upside. Let me just see it again, sorry. I was seeing this as a complex pullback, right? This demand failed and price was making the complex pullback to mitigate something deeper inside M15 POI, and when we chalk bullish again, I was pretty sure that the high will likely to get run because it's now aligned with the M15 and just came from the high probability lower time frame POI inside the M15 demand. So that was the reason I personally was not interested in looking for buys, but just took 2 losses in this price action. I completely missed all the buys, right? I was looking for this POI right here, price never came. Again, looking for the same POI if you want to be a little bit more precise, and price never came, and we are reaching premium levels here on the M15. So I was now shifting and my idea and start being interested in looking for sells, even though it's nothing confirmed yet, even though this can be just a pullback here to continue higher. I was interested in looking for sells and I was expecting some kind of reaction, especially with all these inducement below this POI. So when I go back to the M1, there was on M1 no entry here, for at least for me. We have this change of character that was down here, but the more visible one, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, of this one, and the price just never come back. There is a trade here. You can argue this is a flip, but for me it's nothing very clean. Yeah, and you take something here, but for me it's nothing very clean. And yeah, I have because I had 2 losses and I missed this out. I unfortunately let fear of missing out control me, and I was expecting now, because this was still unmitigated and this was unmitigated, I was expecting price to pull back to mitigate something here to then continue down. So when I saw, actually if you go to M15, and it's also my point of view at the time was, I was not sure if this mitigation here is going to hold and take out the low, because we are trading from a protect high, but I also know that we are low in the leg. We swap external range liquidity on the monthly, daily, and weekly, and this can also be just a pullback to mitigate something here to continue to the upside. So not only to the buys can be used to, if you are going to the downside, to mitigate something here, it was also the possibility that on M15 this mitigation of supply, if this is going to get run, this can be just a pullback, right, to continue to the upside. So I was being a little bit more aggressive, not something that I'm personally interested in taking again, but after this POI, and I explained on the markups, if you want to see, I had fear of missing out, right, and I just took a loss at this stage here, because I was expecting, like I said, on M15 price to actually go to the upside, and the possibility of going to the upside, not only to mitigate these unmitigated supplies right here, but also on M15 there was a possibility that the mitigation of this supply is just a pullback to mitigate something inside this M15 POI to then continue higher. So not the best trade, took a loss, it is what it is. Yeah, that's why I had 3 losses in the row, and I finished for the day, because usually when I take 3 losses in the row, I mess up with my entries, my direction, emotions control me, and it's something that I use to protect myself, because we know that 3 losses is not a big deal, right? Tomorrow we take a 10R and it covers all the losses. And it's important to have this type of management, because if you are not in the flow, if you are not focused and you are making mistakes, maybe you analyze not very well, maybe you miss something, taking a maximum of 3 losses per day will save you, because imagine that I miss with my direction, even though the direction play out that I forecast, I miss with my M1 entries and all that stuff. And if I start taking sell here and then buys here and try to buy here and try to sell here for no reason, I would end up being -5, -10 very easily. So when I'm not in the mood and I have usually 3 losses in a row, it means that I probably do something wrong, right? So I just step away, analyze this price action in more detail in the coming days, and learn the lessons, right? Fortunately, our strategy risk reward is with us, and we can see from the entire month that 3 losses is not a big deal at all. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, send me a message, and I'm happy to answer you and clarify anything. So yeah, bye guys.